Generator.
Generator. Do they still have generators in cars?
Well, the ones I drive do.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I still have a generator. Without the generator, nothing runs.
Absolutely right. Bob?
Both of those answers were good answers. And I'm not sure I could top either one, but I think that I would have to be on a day like this, the air conditioning unit to cool things.
And I would definitely be the windshield wipers. I'm the one that gets to clear the bugs out of the way. We ready? We're ready. All right. I'm gonna figure out how I want to ask these questions. Well, this is the easy one. What is your position regarding the city and, I guess, city and water tap fees? City water tap fees? Is that right?
You read it.
What is your, I'll start with Bob.
One of the great things that we do as part of our planning process is to look at what it takes to do a water service for the people that use it. And one of the things that we did this last year was to almost double the amount of water that we had in Stanley Lake for our future. And in doing that, we found out that the value of the water is a lot more than we had previously figured. And so we raised water fees this last year based upon that new value of what the water is costing us. And that helps us then to keep the dam repaired, all the water treatment plants going, you got water treatment on the front end and you got water treatment on the back end. And so both of those plants need to be up to date and working. And so the water tap fees help us pay for that infrastructure that is extremely critical for all of us as we live here in this great city. The one thing that I know when I travel around is when I'm outside of Westminster, I can tell you that Westminster water tastes better than most all the rest of it.
Go ahead, Herb.
The council took a vote this year on a water tap fee increase, 6-1. I'm the one. The proposal was to raise the water tap fees by 40%. That was not what was in the staff recommendation. The staff recommendation was 23%. By raising that, what we have done is we have stopped a number of potential projects in Westminster because that fee increase. An example is one project at 122nd and Federal. That affected that company's pro forma by $1.3 million that they had not accounted for in the budget to build that project, and that was based solely on a 40% tap fee increase. A number of projects that were starting through the pipeline stopped because that affected their project cost so much they could not move forward, and they haven't moved forward since. Now, will that stop all builders? No. What they'll do is they'll just pass on the additional cost to those who buy those properties or who rent space in their buildings. But I did not approve the 40%. If I had the opportunity and could get the votes, I'd repeal that 40% and put it back to what the staff recommendation was of 23% because the staff recommendation said they could cover all the costs we needed at the 23% increase.
Scott.
I was one that wanted the 40% increase. A water tap fee is what developers pay when they join into our water system. That is over $1 billion for the city of Westminster. We're talking about water rights, we're talking about the storage of the water, the distribution of the water, the filtration of the water, and that's what all of us have paid over many, many years to build that system through our water fees that we pay. They're joining into that system. The cost of the tap fee going to 40% paid for the per acre foot of water. That's how you buy water shares. That's what we pay to get that water to enable that development to take place. There's no reason why they shouldn't have to pay the rate that we bought the water shares so that they could have that development. We shouldn't take that upon ourselves. They should for joining into our water system that we have taken care of and that we've maintained. We are currently going through a comprehensive land use plan. That plan tells us over the next 20 years, there will be more development in the city of Westminster than what we can handle. So we will be fine. They will come. It may take a little while, but I'm not going to take the average taxpayer and the users and have us forfeit when a big developer comes in and let them come in at a cheaper price than what they should.
I'm gonna have, really just one more question. It's gonna be a brief one, 30 seconds, and then we'll give you 1 minute closing remarks. And this was my thing, and it's not putting anybody on the spot. If you were not running, of the other candidates, what would you support? Or how would you support them?
I don't understand what you're asking.
I was trying to say it without putting you on the spot, but that's okay. Of the other candidates, who would you support and why?
You're talking about,
Scott, you can start.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Being on council and running, you're put in a unique position because whether you support somebody, you end up having to work with them or you don't. So you're very careful on that. And it's something that I haven't done when I've been on council. Leaving council, I'm not quite sure if I would support publicly anybody because of the position that you are in. The one thing that I can say is that these two gentlemen are my friends. They have worked on council with me, and I'm out of town. I would continue to actually support the city and moving forward as we're doing.
From the standpoint of what Scott was saying, it's hard to come out and say that somebody you're serving with, when you're both going to potentially still be there, one over the other one. I think most people on council typically take I'm going to support who I want, but I do it privately. I don't think anybody's going to jump up and say that, oh, I'm going to support him because I'm still running. I don't know that I would support anybody because if I wasn't running, I don't know who else would be running.
you know, the good news is that's the question all of you have. Because all of you have elected all of us. And it's your decision that you have to have among there's actually 4 council people running, you're missing one this evening. It's your decision that one of us might be better for the mayor's position than the other 2. But all of us are friends with each other, and we've all voted for each other, and we've worked together, and we'll continue to do that.
Great answers, gentlemen. I appreciate your time tonight. If you take 1 minute each and kind of give your closing remarks, we would greatly appreciate it. Scott, you can start again.
Well, first of all, thank you again for coming out, and this is a great opportunity for us to talk to so many people, and appreciate that very much. Going forward, I want you to know that I will be a collaborative leader. I believe in that. The way the federal government is cutting back, the state is cutting back on funds, we're not in this by ourselves. We have to work with others. We have to work with our counties, our 2 treasurers are down there. We have to work with our neighboring cities, and we've got agreements with that. We're starting to work with fire departments that are neighboring fire departments for mutual aid. I think we need to continue to do that, work with our neighbors, not only within the city, but also within the state and the country. We can't do this alone. So I promise you that I will work collaboratively. I will listen to the input, and I will make the decisions for the entire city of Westminster and help move the city forward. Thank you.
What I do for a living is project management. Nobody reports to me in project management. I have to build teams for people who report to someone else. Collaboration, as Scott was talking about, is what I do for a living, and that's what I have to be successful at, otherwise neither myself nor my clients get the product they want at the end. I have to do that not only in what I do on a daily basis, but in the 501Cs, the children's groups that I work for, I have to do the same thing because we rely basically on all volunteers. So for those groups to be successful, for us to raise funds for them, again, you have to work with groups. Now, a lot of people like to take on RTD, but I will tell you that we have to work with RTD. It's not an option. And we have to work collaboratively with them to get what we need. That's going to be true of every city around us, both counties, both sets of county commissioners, one of which is going to be 3 county commissioners and one of which next year will be 5. So we are having to build new groups that we have to work collaboratively with, and that's what I have the experience of doing now. It's not something I have to go learn.
One of the experiences one has is running a business, and I did that for somewhere close to 50 years. And one of the things that we had in that process is employees. And you have to have a good working relationship with those around you. If you don't stay in business, and we were able to stay in business, and that's a critical part of staying together. We have a friend in the audience who lives in Westminster, but he's one of the officials in Broomfield. We work very closely with all of the cities in the area as well as Highland Hills, because that's the way you have to do it if you're going to work for the future. I've had experience in all levels of government, and I can bring that cooperation and that effort to allow all of us to gain and to become a better Westminster. Thank you.
Gentlemen, you're gentlemen as always, and that's not a loose term. Thank you very much, all counselors, for being here. Thank you for what you're doing for the city. It's going to be a tight race with 3 of you in there. I understand that, like I said, Mary Lindsay's running. I appreciate your work tonight in not beating each other up and really doing what we on the service side tend to do, and that is eat our own. So thank you very much for that. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. I believe they'll be around for another 45 minutes. I'm kidding. A little bit to answer any questions personally that you have.
Straw poll.
Oh, we have a straw poll.
Yeah, we'll have a
When
straw.
they leave.
Yeah,
We'll have a straw poll when you leave. I misunderstood. So please, your exit poll, see if you were swayed one way or the other. And I appreciate you coming in.
And
Thank you very much. Do what?
Good job, guys.
Sign up with your email to get the results. There we go.